Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J Jayalalithaa died at 11:30 p.m. on the night of 5th December. Hers was a life of extraordinary struggle but also extraordinary achievement. In fact, many saw her as the eternal outsider who became the absolute insider. She was born in Karnataka but held sway over the neighbouring Tamil Nadu. She was also a Brahmin but held sway over a Dravidian party. And also, she was an actress who went on to rule the political world. So this week, while we mourn her death, we also celebrate her life as we give you Jaya's story. It's the end of an era, a life well lived and a leader well loved. On a cold winter's day in December 2016, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister J Jayalalithaa suffered a cardiac arrest and died in Chennai's Apollo Hospital after a nearly 2-month-long medical battle. It was a valiant fight and she virtually ran the state from a hospital bed. Nor was she alone, for hundreds and thousands of supporters thronged outside her hospital room, praying for her, weeping for her and for themselves as they imagined a state without their Amma.
அம்மாவோட ஆஸ்பத்திரி அட்மிட் இருந்து நாங்கள் தொடர்ச்சியாக நிகழ்ச்சி பார்த்து வந்திருந்தோம். நேற்று சாயந்தரம் வந்து அம்மா திடீர்னு நம்ம அது ஜனம் வந்து அதிர்ச்சி, அதாவது செயல் இருந்தான்னு சொல்லி சொல்லும்போது ரொம்ப அதிர்ச்சியாக இருந்தது.
Never was Jaya's power more on display than when she was battling multi-organ failure. Like her mentor MGR, she inspired a cult following. Some would say that her following surpassed his. The crowds outside her hospital were a testimonial to her power. The fact that the AIDMK won all 3 by-elections that took place in October just on the strength of a press release issued from a hospital bed is itself testimonial enough. One of these 3 seats, in fact, had been held by the DMK. There is a Hindi phrase that seemed to dominate in the Dravidian-dominated landscape in the last 2 months, Hriday Samrat. She was truly the Queen of Hearts.
She is identified as this reclusive figure who comes out, who is the Tamil Thai, which is mother. Her nickname was Ammu. She was known as Ammu when she began her career, when she was a younger person. That quickly changed over the years to Amma. And because of the kind of policies that she has introduced, she is seen as this benevolent, I wouldn't say despot, although Tamil Nadu has seen many despots, but a benevolent figure who will always, under her shadow, you are always safe.
Yeah, she was an outsider who overcame impossible obstacles and made it to the top. And then fought her way at the top itself to stay at the top. I mean, fighting a woman, Brahmin woman fighting Karunanidhi and that organized gang called DMK, that was really something admirable.
Let us now take a look at some vignettes from a life well loved. For she has for long been the pulse of a state, dominating Tamil Nadu's stage for the last 25 years as she slipped in and out of power, but never from public memory, and finally ending her innings as the 6th-term Chief Minister. During the state elections earlier this year in May, then-sitting Chief Minister Jayalalithaa swept back to power for a second consecutive term, beating a 30-year-old anti-incumbency in the state. And a few months later, her power is as hypnotic as ever. For the last 2 months, as she battled her illness, her supporters never let her down, praying for her and praying to portraits of her, and more importantly, never giving up hope. It was a display befitting a queen. Rumours of Jayalalitha's declining health have been doing rounds for over a year now. Such rumours were not welcomed at Post Garden, from where she had held sway over all of Tamil Nadu. Neither were they welcomed at Apollo Hospital. Her allure was unparalleled. Even her rival, the aging M. Karunanidhi, did not run as disciplined a court as did Jayalalithaa.
She has created a structure by which she has become the state. And it sounds like an exaggeration, I know, but when you become a cult figure of that proportion, then people are ready to die for you. She introduced, I'll just give you a small example. She introduced a cradle scheme to save, in Tamil Nadu, the prevalent system was of female infanticide. So young girls, when they were, soon after they were born, they were fed rice grains which tore up their insides, their entrails, and caused their death. So in order to stop that, it's a barbaric practice by any stretch of imagination. To stop that, she introduced the cradle scheme, by which if you had a baby who was a girl, no questions were asked, you could just deposit her in that cradle and the state would take care of her.
It would be hard to imagine an AIDMK without its Amma. Her rule is that of an iron fist in a velvet glove. There is no line of succession. Her number 2, the AIDMK General Secretary Paneer Selvam, is at best a glorified rubber stamp. Even when he warmed the Chief Minister's chair when Jayalalithaa went behind bars in a disproportionate assets case in September 2014, it was clear that he was getting his orders straight from his imprisoned mentor.
If you see Tamil Nadu political situation, it is more based on personalities, not on policies. And AIDMK was nurtured by one of the most charismatic leaders of Tamil Nadu, M.G. Ramachandran, and he has a firm hold, and he was the mentor of Jayalalithaa, and she followed the tradition. So others are, they used to say in the party, others are zero, and she is the number. So the zeros get power because of the number. That's it.
One thing for sure, Amma's style was very distinctive from her predecessors and certainly very regal. The AIADMK cadres have a special 2-tier stage setup. The first tier is for her and the second for the candidates. And no one really ever was allowed to share the stage with her.
She has been saying often, I don't encourage anybody falling at my feet. And they do it on their own. I don't prevent them, that's all. That's what she has been saying. But you must understand, maybe psychologically, she wants to show that she is a supreme leader. And others, that's a legacy she got from her mentor, M.G. Ramachandran. M.G. Ramachandran also treated them like that. She had a very, I must say, she has been a very good fighter.
Both the Dravidian parties have allied with the national parties time and again, but it seems as if Karunanidhi is the more pragmatic of the two. Or perhaps he has a greater need of a crutch from the centre. For more than a decade, he has been part of both the Vajpayee-led NDA and the Sonia Manmohan-led UP at the centre, with his men grabbing cash-rich economic portfolios, earning the sobriquet of ATM ministers in Luthian's Delhi. Jayalalithaa, however, had always been more of a loner, displaying the same brand of imperious politics at the national level as she did at the state.
Of course, people benefited from her larger-than-life figure, just as she benefited from MJR's larger-than-life figure. Tamil Nadu has always had a tradition of worshipful behavior by people who are voters. And it perhaps, I mean, a sociologist or a psychologist has to examine this. It maybe has to do with the celebration of purity and womanhood and all those traditions which were established in medieval Tamil Nadu. The myth of Kannagi, for instance, the whole idea of chastity and motherhood. Those are very deeply ingrained in political culture of Tamil Nadu.
Most recall the Vajpayee government in 1998, which toppled after Jayalalithaa withdrew support just a year later in 1999.
To the President, communicating the decision of the AIADMK to withdraw its support to the government headed by Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee with immediate effect.
The ostensible reason for withdrawing from the coalition was the sacking of the then Naval Chief Vishnu Bhagwat by the then Defence Minister George Fernandes. Jayalalithaa wanted Bhagwat reinstated and Fernandes to resign. But the real reason was that Vajpayee refused to dismiss the then DMK-led government in Tamil Nadu. And so Subramanian Swamy, who was at that time close to Jayalalithaa and also nursed a grudge against Vajpayee for not making him a cabinet minister, organized the famous tea party with Congress chief Sonia Gandhi in Delhi's Ashoka Hotel and got the two ladies to work together against the Vajpayee-led government.
When Karunanidhi's government had jailed her, you see, on corruption charges, so she had gone to the prison and stayed there for 21 days, and so she couldn't forget that, and so somehow her main motive was to bring the government down and was asking Vajpayee to dismiss the government under Section 356, which Vajpayee didn't want to do because it was an elected government. So, she brought the Vajpayee government down. So, it was her own fault, and she was a bit immature those days. Now she is very seasoned and matured, and she knows the tricks of the trade, and she is a statesman now.
Well, I think from day one she was wanting to pull down the government. The government got its collective majority of the coalition on around the 15th or 16th of March. And then she had a bill of, she was the largest constituent after the BJP. First time she asked me, bring down this government, let's bring down this government, was I think 31st July of the same year. He came to power in March, and 31st, she said he should not unfurl the flag in Red Fort. So I told her that, you know, if you do it in such a short period of the government, then it will all bounce on us. And you got to form an alternative government. We have no alternative government. Bringing down is easy, but how do you bring down the alternative government? So she used to, every month, once she used to ask me. Finally, in March, first week of 1999, she said, I've had enough. I've been scraping the bottom of the barrel. Her exact phrase was, she's very good. I mean, she's convent educated, so all her phraseology is typically Anglo-Saxon. She said, I've been scraping the bottom of the barrel, no more. You have to promise now to bring it down.
The bonhomie with Sonia Gandhi did not last long. In fact, it could be argued that the one of the few national leaders that she had a cordial equation with is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. According to one Lutyens Delhi rumor, sometime back when Jayalalithaa was apprehensive that her cook was trying to poison her, the then CM of Gujarat, Narendra Modi, sent his cook over to Tamil Nadu.
That time he had been re-elected to Gujarat Chief Ministership. He invited her, and when he went to Gujarat, from Gujarat to Chennai, he called on her at her residence.
Jayalalithaa has also been battling the courts and in September 2014 served a jail term on a disproportionate assets case filed ironically by her on-again, off-again friend Subramanian Swamy. It was a legal battle that lasted over 18 years when she was accused of amassing wealth amounting to over $10 million. In 1996 too, she served a month behind bars during a time when Karunanidhi was the chief minister. The charge then was that she had siphoned off property that belonged to the state-operated Tansi agency. However, she soon had a revenge with her old rival. In a scene straight from a Tamil potboiler, when she became chief minister, she had the state police rouse Karunanidhi from his sleep one early morning and arrest him publicly on charges of corruption.
No, in this I have more sympathy for Jayalalithaa than Karunanidhi. Karunanidhi is a very crude, crass person, and she was a very sensitive girl. She was top of the class, and she was forced by her mother to go into cinema, and there she was brutalized, and these people were part of that, and she has not forgotten it. When I was in, I mean, mine is a cyclic friendship with her, sometimes very good and sometimes very bad. And those times it's very good, she quite tells me of her experiences, they're quite horrible. And I personally know Karunanidhi is about the crudest of politicians I've come across. For example, when I go to the slums, I used to talk to the people there, the women especially, they say, I said, they don't care about the corruption charges against her. So what? That's what they ask. One woman asked me, she has already been punished. She was in jail for 20 days or 25 days. Why should you punish her again? So that is now people love her. I must say, after MGR, she is the most charismatic or most popular leader of South India, in spite of the several corruption charges she faced.
Jayalalithaa has always had a colourful and extravagant life. Tales of her extravaganza abound, especially one story which claims that during a raid on her premises, the police discovered more than 10,000 saris and 750 pairs of shoes. And then there is also the gala wedding that she hosted for her friend, colleague and confidant, Shashikala's nephew. However, routed in the election that followed after, she made a vow. She would no longer wear the silk sarees and heavy jewellery that so alienated her from the people. Well, we need to take a short break, but after the break, we are going to be turning from the political to the personal. So stay with us. Welcome back to Cover Story. This week we are taking a look at the extraordinary life, struggles and triumphs of J Jayalalithaa. And in this section we are going to be turning from the political to the personal, because as you can see, nothing really came to this great lady without a struggle. Jayalalithaa Jayaram may be Tamil Nadu's most famous face today, but interestingly she was not born there in Tamil Nadu but in neighbouring Mysore. And moreover, in a state known for its Dravidian politics, she is a Brahmin. However, Tamil politics is known for its theatrics, and Jayalalithaa, it seems, was born to own this stage. She was 2 years old in 1950 when her father died, and her mother went to Chennai to try her hand in the local cinema under the star name of Sandhya. Later, she was soon nudging little Jayalalithaa towards the stage, even while the young girl was studying at the Presentation Church Park Convent in the city. A brilliant student, Jayalalithaa won a government scholarship and a Gold State Award for topping the 10th standard across the state.
She acted in 28 films with M.G. Ramachandran. She was, in those days, Tamil film world, the ladies, the actresses were not educated. And even men were not educated. M.G. Ramachandran himself, though in spite of his popularity, I don't think he was an educated person as much as you expect one these days. You know, many of the actors are educated. So when MGR enters the studio, everybody would stand up. They would not sit in front of him. So much of awe and respect he inspired among the fellow actors and workers. And here was a girl who is hardly 15 to 16 years. And this girl would not stand up. She would be sitting. Then afterwards, once her shot is over in the film, she will not indulge in any other talk. She will go to a corner, sit on a chair and read an English book. Now here is a beautiful girl, young girl, seems to be very educated. She was convent educated, speaks flawless, good, fluent English. And here is a girl who reads English books. And here is a girl who looks much more intelligent and much more of an intellectual. And naturally, Mr. MGR was attracted towards her. And in her interview, she has said, after my mother died at the age of 47, she was only 23, MGR became everything to me.
You find how she has single-handedly, she has had no political pedigree, no one to help her. Her mother passed away when she was just 21, and MGR's closeness was also very uncertain because of his coterie pulling him away from her. And so it was such a difficult life she had, and she fought it through, you know, she fought every obstacle that came along, and then she won her way. That was something very amazing, and I felt it is this that made her so tough and so complex. She had this anger, with her anger at the male world maybe. That is why I think she was very happy when men fell at her feet,
She has been a very powerful figure. In Tamil Nadu, politics and film intertwined together inseparably. And she was the right-hand figure, the most popular female lead of M.G. Ramachandran, who was the Chief Minister, and scripts were created just to accommodate her and MJR.
Jayalalithaa was just 13 when she starred in her first film, which incidentally was a Kannada film, and was often seen carrying her books to the set, studying when off the camera. Her destination was clear in her mind. She wanted a law degree. But fate and the then Tamil superstar MGR had other plans. She first met MG Ramachandran on the sets, and the two had an instant connect. They made more than 20 films together. Jayalalithaa acknowledges MGR's role in mentoring her towards politics. MGR had split the DMK to become the state chief minister in 1977 and cajoled her to join his party, the AIADMK, as the propaganda secretary. Her swift rise and the patronage of a powerful mentor made her the envy of her party colleagues, who eventually created a rift between her and MGR.
That's a typical Tamil drama. I don't want to get into it. MGR was also had a very good public image, but his private reality was something I never thought well of. I knew him well. I knew MGR well, but it's a very. I mean, I would say it was while she was with him, it was a demeaning relationship, and privately she resented it a lot. And once I asked her, why does she praise MGR so much if this is the type of person he was to you? She said, I have to do it for survival.
Her fall was as swift. On MGR's death, she was publicly humiliated when she attempted to climb the gun carriage which was carrying his body. She was literally pulled off by his wife, Janki's relatives, and had to leave under police escort. Moreover, MGR's mantle was passed on to his wife, who became the state CM. But Jaya had her revenge in 1989 when she defeated the MGR faction headed by Janki and went on to become the face of the opposition to DMK's Karunanidhi.
When MGR died, she went to be with the body of the MGR, but she was not allowed inside. She waited outside for an hour, knocking the door with her fist for about an hour. Ultimately, she got entry. When she entered, she was not even given a seat. She was standing for 13 hours. Next day, when the funeral procession started, she wanted to climb up the gun carriage, and she was dragged down by one of the MLAs. And she says she was even hit by another person, a nephew of Janaki Ramachandran, who was actually the wife of Mr. M.G. Ramachandran. This, she says, hardened her attitude towards the people.
There too the theatrics continued, for during a budget session in March 1989, when she took on Karunanidhi on the floor of the assembly, his supporters manhandled her. A bitter Jayalalithaa swore that she would not set foot in the assembly till she defeated the DMK. And in this battle, she clearly had the last word, dying in office, dying with her boots on, winning both the battle of the votes and the battle of the hearts. Well, as you can see, this was not the life that Jayalalithaa would have chosen for herself. But once it was thrust upon her, she made sure that she not only owned the script, but she owned the entire stage as well. And it is for this reason that she will be missed, not just at the state level, but also here at the national level. From Cover Story, that is all this week. We'll see you again same time next week.